Today's geopolitics briefing leads with President Trump's high-profile visit to China, the red carpet reception, and what it all means for global power, markets, and money. I'll walk through the latest China trip developments, Trump's foreign policy pressure points, trade and tariffs, and what to watch next, plus an alternative systems-level take on each story. Part 1. Trump in China, red carpet, and optics. President Trump's visit to Beijing is now fully underway, and the welcome has been as theatrical as you'd expect from a summit of this size. The red carpet treatment, the formal ceremonies, and the tightly managed photo ops all send one clear signal. Both sides want this trip to be seen as a major reset moment. The alternative perspective, look past the ceremony, and you see managed optics designed to project stability, while the real negotiations may be happening around capital flows, supply chains, and who gets privileged access once the cameras leave. Part 2. CEOs on the plane. Who flew with the president and why it matters. Trump is traveling with a heavyweight business delegation that includes Elon Musk of Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI, Tim Cook of Apple, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, Larry Fink of BlackRock, Stephen Schwartzman of Blackstone, David Solomon of Goldman Sachs, Cristiano Amon of Qualcomm, Kelly Ortberg of Boeing, and Jane Fraser of Citi. That makes this trip look like more than diplomacy. It looks like a meeting where business and state power are moving in the same direction.
President Xi, I want to thank you very much. First of all, that was an honor like few have ever seen before. And I think I was particularly impressed by those children. They were happy, they were beautiful. The military is obvious, it couldn't be better, but those children were amazing and they represent so much. And I know they represent so much to you. You and I have known each other now for a long time. In fact, the longest relationship of our two countries that any president and president has had. And that's, to me, an honor. We've had a fantastic relationship. We've gotten along. When there were difficulties, we worked it out. I would call you and you would call me. And whenever we had a problem, people don't know, whenever we had a problem, we worked that out very quickly. We're going to have a fantastic future together. Such respect for China, the job you've done. You're a great leader. I say it to everybody, you're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. I only say the truth.
The alternative perspective, the delegation is a signal that this summit is also about private leverage. The executives who move markets, shape industrial policy, and control key choke points in chips, finance, and logistics are there to protect and expand their own strategic position. Part 3. What's on the agenda? Trade, tech, and signal management. Today's summit is centered on trade, technology, tariffs, artificial intelligence, rare earths, and broader efforts to reduce friction between the two biggest economies in the world. Early coverage suggests Trump and Xi are trying to keep the relationship stable enough to avoid a bigger market shock, even as the competition remains intense. The alternative perspective, this can also be read as a negotiation over control of the financial and industrial plumbing of the global economy, where the public gets the headline version and the real bargaining centers on exemptions, concessions, and future investment channels. Part 4. Taiwan and the escalation risk. One of the biggest pressure points in the talks is Taiwan. Xi warned that mishandling the issue could put US-China relations in great jeopardy and even create a conflict which shows just how sensitive this summit really is. The alternative perspective. Warnings like this are not just about geopolitics. They are also leverage tools used to force the other side into predictable behavior while markets, defense contractors, and allied elites prepare for whichever direction the story moves. Part 5. CIA and the Tulsi Gabbard Files. Another major Washington story is the report that CIA personnel took files from Tulsi Gabbard's office at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. That immediately raises questions about interagency tension, internal power struggles, and what kind of material was important enough to move in the first place. And it's hard to ignore how convenient the timing was, since it happened while Trump was away in China, giving the story room to unfold with less immediate scrutiny and less pushback from his circle.
You also have some news coming out of the CIA that you'd like to share.
Yeah, so we were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to the JFK files as well as MKUltra. The reason why this is troubling is A, there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MKUltra files, the CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed, and so very troubling. I did just talk to Chairman Comer, and we are sending in the next hour or so a preservation of documents request to the CIA. I have calls into the White House to the director of the CIA himself, and so obviously as this develops, we'll keep everyone up to date, but strange times we're living in.
The alternative perspective, from a systems view, this is exactly how institutional battles often play out. Not in public speeches, but in quiet battles over records, access, and control of information that can shape the next political narrative before most people even notice it. Part 6. Tariffs, markets, and legal headwinds at home. Back home, trade policy headlines keep moving. Legal challenges and court rulings have complicated tariff plans, and there are reports of refunds and shifting rules that complicate business planning. Markets watch these developments closely. The alternative perspective, trade disputes and sudden policy reversals are also a mechanism by which control over supply chains and capital is contested, and the visible legal fights can mask negotiated exceptions and carve-outs for select actors. In conclusion, what to watch this week? Any joint communiqué from Beijing that softens language on trade or security. Market reactions to summit statements. Energy, semiconductors, and bank stocks. Follow-up meetings and side deals involving corporate delegations. Any new fallout from the CIA and DNI record story. The alternative perspective, watch for a major announcement between China and the United States.